And the season officially, for us at least, starts now. Welcome in to the year opening edition of Big Ten Wrestling and Beyond. Rick Pizzo, thrilled to be joined as always by Shane Sparks. We hope you have remained at the same weight class that you were at since the last time we saw you. Shane, of course, is fired up as always for Big Ten Wrestling.
Rick, this is fantastic. 309 days since the Big Ten Championships last March in Lincoln. And you know what I love about this sport? You don't defend anything. You got to earn it every single season. New opportunities for the Big Ten.
And we are just getting started with Big Ten duels. So let's start it with our Week 1 headlines. Iowa, a little bit of a scare to start the week against Illinois. Not at all what Tom Brands wanted. The Hawkeyes split total matches with the Illini, but survived with a 25-19 win. Brands said, we just can't wrestle that way. His team listened. They responded next time out, winning 8 of 10, drubbing Purdue by the final of 37-6 in that duel.
How about the Fighting Illini, Rick? They go to Carver Hawkeye Arena, 25-19. They fall to the Hawkeyes, but they win 5 matches, and they score more takedowns than the Hawkeyes. That was a really good effort on Friday. Then yesterday against Wisconsin, 18-17. Danny Pagino and Dylan Connor with a couple of big wins for the Fighting Illini. They're now 1-1 in the Big Ten. Danny Pagino fired up for Illinois.
The Illini not the only team in the land of Lincoln to be impressing right now. Northwestern comes from behind, winning 5 straight matches to close out a dual victory over Minnesota. Remember, the Wildcats also won the Midlands earlier this year. Their only other duel, they took down Virginia. Yaya Thomas was the Big Ten Wrestler of the Week. Don't forget, this team finished 6th last year at the NCAAs.
And the reigning national champion Nittany Lions going to Madison, and they beat Wisconsin at 28-11. Bottom line here, Rick, the Stars showed up. The 4 national champions scoring bonus points, but there are some young Lions. Really nice wins from Bo Bartlett at 141. Shane Vanessa at 149, a good effort, but he fell short. And Levi Haynes at 157. He might be the answer at that weight class for Penn State.
Well, let's start our early season storylines right there in State College with the team that everyone expects to win it all. RBY is back. Carter Starachi is back. Aaron Brooks is back. This is a team, Shane, that just seems to have everything that every other team wishes they had.
It's incredible, the amount of talent on that team. 4 returning national champions. Greg Kirkland at heavyweight ranked number 1. But one thing that Cale Sanderson and Penn State has done, Rick, there's always some talented, hungry Lions in that pride. Mention those middleweights, the guys I mentioned before. They have so much talent. This could be a super, super special year in State College for Penn State.
More on Penn State later. We're going to ask Shane a really difficult question. Is this the best squad that Cale Sanderson has ever had? Despite all those national championships and Big Ten titles, you may be surprised to hear Shane's answer. Now, Penn State was a known commodity, but there's a couple of teams that we've already discussed or touched on who have really impressed you to start the year.
You talked about Northwestern. Matt Storniolo and company, they were 6th at the national tournament last year. They are very solid the first 5 weight classes, and I've been really impressed. They developed guys there, and Northwestern is a team to keep an eye on. Of course, last year, Ryan Deacon, a national champion at 157. They've moved on, but they got some really good guys. It's going to be hard wrestling. You know what to expect from these guys. Don't sleep on the Wildcats, Rick. This is a very good team.
And I know you feel the same way about Illinois, a team that there were some question marks with heading into this season.
Mike Poeta in his 2nd year there in Champaign, there were some question marks, but they got to build. And it's pretty spectacular when you come into this conference and you get any kind of success. And the weekend they have, he's looking for effort going into Carver Hawkeye. Guys, toe the line and compete against these guys. You don't back down. They didn't back down. And then they follow that up yesterday. State Farm Center in Champaign. They beat a really good Wisconsin team. 18-17, and the guys got to step up and dual meets. Danny Pacino at 141. He had a great weekend. Another guy yesterday was Dylan Connell at 184, a nice win. Zach Bronigal at 197, an awesome weekend. So it was really good to see. I just love to see, Rick, this talent in this conference. Yeah, you got all the big hitters up front, but I like seeing some of these other teams develop. They're on the rise, and you better in the Big Ten, you better show up every single time, because if you don't, bad things are going to happen.
Pacino sealed that with that pin against Wisconsin. That was such a tight duel throughout, a huge win, something to build on for the Illini moving forward. Let's go from teams to individuals, and clearly there is no individual storyline in the Big Ten, in the nation, that people have been following more than Spencer Lee. And this week, man, he backed it up. One in much easier fashion than the other.
Are we talking about Spencer Lee, who at this time last year had both ACLs replaced?
Both.
Yes, we're talking about that Spencer Lee. And yesterday he was in a dogfight with Matt Ramos of Purdue. He's ranked top 10 in the country. He's very solid. But you look at what he did. Ramos comes out big, puts him on his back with a lateral drop, but Spencer Lee finds a way, stays relaxed, keeps on wrestling, slapping the mat. Spencer Lee, 45 straight. The quest for 4 is underway.
Spencer Lee was so fired up, headbutting his dad on the way off the bat. You could basically see that he is getting rid of all that pent-up energy. That's a situation we never see Spencer Lee in. On his back, man, did he respond, and maybe sending a message to the rest of the Big Ten. The knees may be new, but inside I am the exact same guy. More individual talk, and let's talk a little bit more about those two Illinois guys that you mentioned, Pacino and Bronigal. If Mike Poeta wants this team to be where he wants it to be at the end of the year, these two guys are probably driving that bus.
Yeah, Pacino, really good job this week and goes to Carver Hawkeye, gets a major decision, gets that fall against Wisconsin. He's been very good. He's one of those guys developing. Mike Poeta told me a couple years ago, Shane, Danny Pacino's really good. It's a matter of, will he believe how good he is? We're starting to see that. And Zach Bronigal, you saw what he did over the weekend. He beats Jacob Warner, and then he comes through with a big win against Braxton Amos yesterday. That was a rematch of the Midlands final. He's been at 184. He looks superb at a loaded 197-pound weight class.
And, of course, you always have Lucas Bird to rely on as well in Champaign. Northwestern we touched on as a team. But individually, there are some new faces. Our good friend Ryan Deacon, who went from the studio here to a national championship a year ago, has been replaced, but his replacement has been solid as well. And this team, I don't think they'll be as big a surprise this year as they were a year ago.
I would agree. Frankie Talshahar at 141 pounds, a really nice job against Minnesota in that dual meet victory. And Trevor Chumbley at 157. This guy's in his 4th year, and he's getting an opportunity. Matt Storniolo told me when I talked to him after they won the Midlands, Yaya Thomas might not make that run a couple years ago if not for Trevor Chumbley. Ryan Deacon might not win that national title if it's not for Trevor Chumbley. He's a selfless guy. He's a leader in that room. He's getting an opportunity. He's won the Midlands. He beats Brayton Lee in that dual meet to ice things up for Northwestern. You got to have guys like that, but those are the kind of guys that Matt Storniolo recruits, and they have success.
All right, time for us to introduce a new segment. It's a hot topic that has Shane Singlet a little bit in a twist. And if you think he gets fired up most of the time, oh no. Now it's time for that to really happen because this segment itself is known as Fired Up.
Dual meets, guys. Dual meets, dual meets, dual meets. That is what happens for college wrestling. You want to build the sport. You want to grow the sport. You want to build a fan base. And dual meets right now, you look at social media, the wrestling world, dual meets are everything. This is how you grow the sport. Look at these last couple weeks, some of the awesome dual meets around the country. Look at opening weekend here in the Big Ten. It was a battle with Iowa and Illinois, Wisconsin and Illinois yesterday. We saw Penn State, Wisconsin Friday night, mentioned Northwestern and Minnesota yesterday. Dual meets are so much fun. We need dual meets. The national tournament is fantastic, but it's an individual tournament that gives a team trophy away. It just doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense to me. Look at the other sports. Look at volleyball. Look at basketball. Look at baseball. Got the national championship in football tonight. It's a playoff. It embraces the fans. Fans get behind a team. Let's get a dual meet championship. Here's what I would tell you. That, to me, is the Red Ryder BB gun in Christmas Story. When Ralphie comes down, he wants the Red Ryder BB gun. That's what I want. I want a dual meet championship.
The official is coming in. Shane has left the mat area. We got to rein him in. Shane Sparks, as always, as fired up as anybody in the sport of wrestling. 2 words: dual meet.
Dual meet.
My coaches tell me all the time, if I'm going out there and the match is going to be a 3-2 match, then it's not fun for me, it's not fun for them, and I'm not on my style. So my style is go out there, create action, keep the pace up high, and try to get the other guy tired while I score as many points as I can.
It is a style that we love to watch and a style that suits Dean Hamiti extremely well. He is the Big Ten's highest-ranked wrestler at 165 pounds. So, Dean, we've heard you describe that style. You're hyper-aggressive. What is the backside of that style? That means that you have to do what to get ready to wrestle in that fashion?
I think the biggest part of my style is just staying loose, you know. I'm not going to go out there overthinking my wrestling, overthinking what I'm going to do. So I just go out there and kind of like to flow to the best of my ability, and it leads to a fun style that I like to have.
Is that your personality off the mat as well?
Yeah. I don't like to overthink anything. I go with the flow. I go through my days just taking on every challenge that comes to me.
All right, because that makes a lot of sense when we see not just the way that you wrestle, but sometimes the way that you celebrate after your matches. We've seen some different sellies. One went viral when you did the gritty last year after a big-time win. Where does that come from, and how much have you heard from friends and teammates and wrestling fans about those post-match sellies?
So the gritty one was kind of a suggestion from one of my teammates. He said if I got a pin in one of our Big Ten dual meets, I had to do a celebration. And the gritty was popular at the moment, so I kind of just did that.
Yeah, and I think it worked out pretty well because it got a lot of attention for you, for Wisconsin, for the Big Ten, and for your weight class right now at 165. Shane Sparks told me that maybe the NCAA should consider 9 weight classes at the NCAAs and then a separate event for 165 because it is so loaded. When you look at that division, what are your thoughts?
Just excitement, you know. I'm excited to go out there and wrestle the best of the best. And, you know, to be the best, you have to beat the best. And certainly 165 is where they are. So it just excites me to go out there and wrestle the best.
Yeah, you're having a great year at that weight. Your only 2 losses right now to David Carr and Quincy Monday, 2 guys who are undefeated and in the top 5 national championship contenders. What did you learn from those 2 matches, both of which were really tight?
Just to kind of tighten up my offense, you know. If you make little mistakes, it can lead to big consequences, and those are the lessons that I learned during those matches. But, you know, just really tightening up everything and making sure everything's perfect. I know everything's not going to be perfect in every match, but being as perfect as I can be in those big matches.
You looked pretty close to perfect in your most recent win over Bronigal of Illinois on Sunday. Tech Fall, what did you do really well in that match?
I think staying composed in that match. You know, the first period I was on one leg for the whole time, but, you know, you got to push through those challenges and then get my offense going in the second and third, and that's what I did.
I know that was a tight match team-wise as well, and you guys weren't able to get it done as far as the dual record was concerned. What has to happen for the Wisconsin team to be where it wants to be before Big Tens?
I think, again, like I said before, like those little mistakes, you know, we have to tighten up those little mistakes and kind of work through them as a team and try to help each other in our own areas, and I think we're all going to improve greatly.
I want to take you back to your high school days because you were dominant in Illinois. You won 3 straight Illinois high school state championships. You were favored to win a 4th, and then COVID comes in and wipes out the event. You ever still think about what could have been and joining the elite in the very small group of guys who won 4 state titles in high school?
I kind of tried to forget about it as soon as I heard that I was going to get canceled, you know. I was always looking to the next big thing that I had to do and the next big tournaments. I kind of just tried to not dwell on that and leave it in the past.
All right, so let's learn a little bit more about you. When you're not training, when you're not on the mat, what does Dean Hamiti like to do for fun?
I play a lot of video games with my teammates, but other than that, I watch a lot of movies. I'm going to say video games probably number 1.
All right, who's the best gamer on the Wisconsin wrestling team? Is it you?
Oh, me, for sure. Come on, I'm not going to go against myself in that.
You were almost insulted that I even asked the question, what is the video game of choice?
Right now we're playing Fortnite pretty religiously, so I'm going to say Fortnite.
All right, and lastly, you said that you love movies. If you had one movie to pick that you had to watch over and over again, what would that movie be and why?
Shane asked me this the other day. I'm going to say Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, and it's just a great movie, great story. It's based on a true story, and I just love every aspect of it.
I love it. And Dean Hamiti hoping to be the lone survivor at 165 pounds at this spring's NCAA Wrestling Championships. Dean, we truly appreciate the time. Love watching you wrestle that style. So much fun to see from a spectator's point of view, and I hope it pays off for you down the road.
Thank you.
Last year, we saw some amazing mat returns, and that was a whole lot of fun to watch, but it's all part of a bigger equation. There is no secret sauce to having success in this sport. You better be tough. A new segment this season called Tough Wrestling. Let's roll watching some tough wrestling. We begin with Dylan D'Amelio of Ohio State. If the Buckeyes want to have success, they need this guy. It's 5-1 third period. A lot of guys might shut it down right here, but Dylan D'Amelio, he sniffs those bonus points. Duel means you got to get the bonus points. So with 1:10 left, is a nice job here. Limp arm, there's a takedown for D'Amelio. 50 seconds left. I like this. You don't wait till there's 10 seconds left. 50 seconds left. Get the bonus points. Get that urgency. He gets the bonus points. Tough wrestling from Dylan D'Amelio of Ohio State. How about this guy, Derek Gilcher of Indiana? It doesn't go right. He's down 3-0. Gallagher gets a takedown. Rides him out the entire first period. Gallagher, a quick escape. He's down 3-0. He's in trouble here with 50 seconds left, but a great job. Puts himself right back into the match with that takedown. What? Maybe the mat return of the year right there from Derek Gilcher. Look at that explosion as he slams him into the Resolite. Derek Gilcher, 3-2. Talk about quick escapes. That urgency to his feet, fights, hands, turns. There's an escape for the Hoosier. A new match, 3-3. And now a single leg. 1:20 left in the match at the edge. He gets that takedown, and he finds a way to get the win. Tough wrestling, Derek Gilcher. How about Yahya Thomas? He's in a barn burner. 1-1 after 9 minutes. They go to the tiebreakers. This is not sudden victory. You got to ride this guy like a leech. You cannot let him go. Great mat awareness. 12 seconds. Mat return right there. Another look at this from Yahya Thomas. That's how you win tough matches. He gets it done 2-1. Zach Bronigal of Illinois. This guy just looks tough. Goes into Carver Hawkeye Arena. 1-1, 10 seconds left. This is fantastic. Warner on his heels a little bit. Great shot there by Bronigal. Time runs out. He goes into Carver Hawkeye and gets a big win over NCAA finalist Jacob Warner. He follows that up. In this sport, you can't feel too good about yourself for too long. You got to get right back at it. And he does that against Braxton Amos. A Midlands final. He beat him there, and he's going to beat him again. He fell behind, but he just keeps on wrestling. Bronigal, late takedown. He finds a way to get it done. But maybe the toughest wrestling of the weekend, Spencer Lee. He's down 2-1. Matt Ramos right here wants to take the Hawkeye to his back, lateral drop. He's got Spencer Lee in his back. You see Tom Brand's concerned in the back. Watch this look by Spencer Lee on his face. He's not here very often, but Spencer Lee finds a way to get it done. Keeps wrestling, stays poised. He's down 8-2. 8-2. The three-time national champion working off a 2-on-1. Gets to a tie then that he likes. There's a sweep single by Spencer Lee. Drives through and gets the takedown, and here we go again. You leave a little window open for Spencer Lee. He's going to make you pay. Watch this. Time counting down in the first period. Spencer Lee, we're going to get the slap with him, and yes, we do. 30th pin of his career. Spencer Lee, three-time national champion. Watch this. I love it. We saw him give his dad the headbutts. Watch this post. Gives the headbutt to the post, and maybe my favorite part right here. Spencer Lee punching himself in the face. Emotion, and he should have emotion. Back was against the wall. You don't quit. 7 minutes left. A lot of guys would have quit right there, Rick. Spencer Lee, no quit from Spencer Lee.
I love the tough wrestling. Easy, my friend. This is
episode
this, Rick.
1.
This is how you win matches
at
for the
this
next
level.
couple of months.
This is how you win.
This is season opening energy right now. With the Big Ten schedule just underway, it's perfect timing for a look at the three big picture stories Shane is focused on throughout the course of this wrestling season. And the first is focused on the young man we just talked about, Iowa's 125-pound legend, Spencer Lee.
It's the biggest story in the Big Ten. Spencer Lee, there have been 4 guys to win 4 individual national crowns. Can Spencer Lee be the 5th? Ohio State head coach Tom Ryans once told me there are more guys that have walked on the moon than won 4 individual national titles. Spencer Lee, can he get to 4? He's one of 7 three-time national champs in Hawkeye history. Iowa's never had a 4-timer. That'd be super, super cool if he's able to get 4.
If that comeback over Matt Ramos is any indication, I would not bet against him. Now, that story is fairly clear, but you also want to focus on trophies. What do you mean by that?
This is the premier conference in college wrestling. The top 4 teams take home a trophy from the national tournament. Last year, the Big Ten went 1-2-3 with Penn State, Michigan, and Iowa. This season, can they get 3 more? You look at Penn State and Iowa. Could we see Michigan, Ohio State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Northwestern? Could one of those teams get into those top 4? Let's get 3 more trophies for the Big Ten.
And perhaps the third story, we know names like Spencer Lee, Roman Bravo Young, Aaron Brooks, but every year there are some new faces that elevate their teams And this could be a case where some new faces help elevate new teams to heights they've never been to before.
For sure. I love the new talent. And a few guys that stand out to me to keep an eye on this season at 149 pounds, Shane Van Ness of Penn State. They got Levi Haynes at 157, some of those new Lions. Another guy that I really like is Jesse Mendez of Ohio State at 133. He's got a win this season over Lucas Bird, so he's dangerous. But I love this week because there's going to be a guy in a month from today that, in all honesty, I don't know a whole lot about today, but I'll know a lot about him in a month.
Penn State, without question, the team to beat. Almost impossible question for you to answer. Is this the best lineup that Cale Sanderson's ever had?
It might be the best team they've had from a point standpoint. They scored 146.5 points in 2017. Remember, they had 5 national champions on that team. This team's got the 4 returning national champions. You have Greg Kirkfleet at heavyweight, who's ranked number 1, and some of those young guys. Mentioned Vanessa at 149, possibly Haynes at 157, and a big guy this year, Bo Bartlett, coming down from 149 to 141. Could this be Cale's best team ever? I think it can be.
We interviewed Dean Hamiti earlier in the show, a guy we didn't know much about last year. Are there other wrestlers out there, Shane, whether they were in high school last year or guys who we didn't know a lot about that you really want to watch this season?
There's one guy from Nebraska, Brock Hardy. He's been around a while, but getting an opportunity. Last year, that guy was Jacob Berglund from Minnesota. Mentioned Trevor Chumley. There's always guys, and again, Rick, that's why in this conference, you better be ready every single time you toe the line, because if you're not, this is a very talented field. They can get you.
Final thought. Your bold prediction for the 2023 Big Ten wrestling season is what?
Carter Starachi does not give up one takedown. Carter Starachi will not give up a takedown.
Hold on, let's clarify that.
Talk.
Let's clarify that. Not a near fall.
No.
No takedowns all year long.
I don't believe it. This guy loves to be in tough positions and fights them so hard. I think he's the toughest guy in the Big Ten. Carter Starachi, crazy talk. Crazy talk. He's not giving up a takedown.
That is crazy talk. What a way to start. Big Ten wrestling and beyond. For Shane Sparks, I'm Rick Pizzo. If you enjoyed it, the good news is we'll be here every week.